All right, welcome to
There we
another
are.
episode of Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds. I'm Dustin.
I am Bo,
Indeed, you are.
as
I am
always.
excited for today's episode for sure.
Yeah, this was somebody you brought our attention to, and I was like, oh yeah, for sure, we got to get this guy on.
Exactly, exactly.
So without further ado, let's
That's right. Welcome, welcome, Chuck
Mr.
Marshall.
Chuck Marshall.
Hello. Thanks for having me on the show. And
Oh, of course. We, for full disclosure, we all showed up a little early, and we really wanted to start the show.
That's
got
why
to
we
chatting
started
too
on time
much.
for once.
Yeah. Well, for people that don't know, introduce who is Chuck Marshall? What do you do?
hi. Bo and Dustin, thank you first of all for reaching out. It's something that we all look for on the internet is when we're out there doing social media and like putting ourselves out there. The one thing that we want to do is like to reach other people. And you guys reached out and said hello, and I thought that was awesome. So thank you so much for wanting to have me on the show.
Yeah.
Um, but to your point, I live in the Bay Area of California. I'm going to be moving out of the state soon enough, but I do a lot of costuming, 3D printing, dabble in leather work, set decoration, stuff like that, painting, that's all the hobby stuff in like the kind of the cosplay community,
Yeah,
and that's me.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I thought it was interesting because you had gotten into this. You found your groove with just the smallest of projects, which is how
Yeah,
it always starts with everybody. So, like your introduction into the world of fabrication and costumes, and how did
yeah.
that
So
start?
yeah, so it's funny. I was at work just doing the thing, and my coworker came in one day, and he had a raw cast of a Mandalorian helmet, and it wasn't Boba Fett. It was just like a generic Mando because it didn't have the dent that we know Boba Fett for. And I'm like, where did you get this? And so he sent me to this website. I went and I found one. I bought one, and I didn't want to tell my wife, so I had it shipped to his house because because
We
this
all
is
have that
something.
friend.
Yeah, and I'd never done costumes before. I mean, it's an expensive hobby, and then if I, if money changes, like when you buy expensive things, then everything else becomes a little bit more affordable.
Yeah.
But this guy brought in the helmet. I asked him like, "What is this?" And then he told me that he found a costume club called the Mandalorian Mercenaries, and they build custom Mandalorian costumes.
Yeah.
And being a Boba Fett fan, I was like, okay, I get to interpret my own, idea onto like the Boba Fett template. Yes, please.
Yeah.
And I'd been painting miniatures with. I played Warhammer 40K at the time, and I had done a lot of painting stone and making things look weathered and used and lived in. So I'm like, this is the perfect thing. I get to design my own costume. I get to leather work. I get to do all this stuff. But of course, I didn't know anything about how to do that. So, in traditional bounty hunter form, I went to their website, found where their events were going to be at local Comic Cons, and I went to one and I just approached them at the table. I said hello, introduced myself, and they taught me how to build and craft armor, how to heat plastic, how to shape plates. And then I applied my own painting and my own leather working stuff to add to the costume. There's some tailoring too, right? Because there's like
Mhm.
cloth, leather,
Yeah.
plastic, etc. So they set me on my way, and in about a year's time, I'd finished my own kind of custom pirate Mandalorian. I built a backstory on it, got to dump a bunch of creativity into it, and then from then on, I was just hooked. I went to conventions. I stood for photos. People commented on the costume, and it just made me feel so proud of my achievement. And so
Oh
I've
yeah.
been upgrading that costume over the years. Meanwhile, I've branched off into a variety of different like pop cultures. I've done a lot with Star Wars. Yeah, I'm a member of the 501st Legion, the Mandalorian
Yeah.
Mercenaries, the Rebel Legion. So I've really got addicted, and
We
it
should actually show. So y-
Yeah. Oh, let me do that real
yeah,
quick.
pull this up.
sorry to just ramble. It's just yeah.
No, I
Uh,
would like to show everybody. Fast forward a couple years just to see what you can do, and I'm
what
just
am I doing?
amazed. Oh, also,
And
yeah.
I'm new to the scene. 2016, I went to my very first Comic Con.
Oh,
I've never been to I never been to a con, and I knew that I wanted to wear a costume to one because that to me, I see costumes when I see a convention someplace. The first thing I see are costumes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, I want to wear a costume when I go to these things. And so it
right.
wasn't until 2016 that I finally went to my first Comic Con, met the group. 2 years later, in 2018, finally finished my costumes, and yeah, never gone back.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a comment here. It
Yeah.
says Jessica Laws says that's a great friend to hide a package. Yep.
We need to get Zach on here to he has like a business plan for those friends that you kind of don't want it to come to the house.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's
And so
let's
here's his page.
yeah.
And I mean, just right off the bat, like this is
Yeah,
great
I mean,
work.
like that's movie quality to me.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Especially with just you've only been in it 2 years,
Yeah.
which means you went in. It must have been a thing that spiraled quickly for you to just start with one project and now you're just doing it at the ease.
Like, it's an addiction, man.
Yeah.
The yeah, I don't it yeah, it's an addiction. The 3D printing of it all like really makes everything accessible. Like from 2016 to 2018, 3D printing was just kind of coming in, right? Like those were like
Yeah.
the very first printers, and I was buying props for my costumes. Like for Boba Fett, I bought a couple of 3D printed items that were expensive, and I'm just like, why am I buying this? I should just buy that printer because I'm buying too many props. Like if I want a 3D printed lightsaber, I got to pay good money for that, and I might as well just buy the printer. So
Right.
that's the best investment I've ever made. That's the best $500 ever. Uh, and it's just stuff like that. You just that it's so accessible now that I have it. Every costume, if it's like a physical, like a hard armor piece, I can print that.
No
I can
kidding,
make
yeah.
that. I got to put in a bunch of time and effort to like clean up all the surfaces, do the prep, do the time. But that's the hobby, right? Like that's why we do these things
Yeah.
is to take up our time and hang out with friends and get dusty and paint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're impressing the viewers. It's like a communication of love.
Yeah.
Like you're just expressing how much you love something because
Yeah.
usually that idea is intangible until you make it, thing. So your work is just outstanding.
For sure.
I'm
Thank you.
impressed. I love that you actually take the time. It's not just for yourself. Like you take these outfits to like children's hospitals and
Yeah.
visit with kids and stuff, which is amazing. What
Yeah.
is
What was
yeah
this like for you?
yeah
Let's see. I'll do that again here. Share screen. And
what is that like? What's that feel like to I mean, to these kids, it's like you are that person.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So this is where like cosplay and like the Legion and
mm-hmm.
the costume clubs really take the costumes to the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when you're wearing that suit, I have to remember that when people are talking to me, they're not talking to Chuck in costume, they're talking to Din Djarin.
Yeah.
And so I have to respond to people in that way, and I have to represent that character, protect the IP. I can't do something that Mando wouldn't do, right? So I try to
Right.
maintain that character at all times. I stand, I stand tall. You'll see Mando leaning on a lot of stuff, so I'll find a wall and lean on it and just kind of hang out there and let people come talk to me. It's a different way to engage because you're remaining true to the character and you're inviting people to come and talk to you because nobody's talking to you. And stuff like I don't carry Grogu with me, right? Because it's a doll,
Mm-hmm.
and so when kids see the fake doll, then it kind of loses that imagination. Whereas if I don't have it, I can make an excuse. Oh, he's off training with Luke. Oh, he's hanging out, with Pelimoto. So different way. He's taking a nap. That's
Yeah.
that's a big hit.
Yeah.
So just remaining in character is very important. And yeah, and the things that you say to kids, like you have to remember that something that you say or do to a small, young, impressionable child may stick with them for their entire life.
Right.
Like I have memories of things that like why, but
Yeah.
it's there. And I just wonder, if I say or do something, what that impact is on that person, and how long does it last, how far does it travel, and will they remember that at some other point in their life and then use that to do something else.
Right.
So it's very important to remain in character, I feel,
Yeah.
when you're
No,
representing these characters.
no, it's beautiful. I think it goes with adults too. Like when we go to cons and stuff, it's you see the person, you're automatically just like, oh, yeah, there's Dan. Like we want to believe, like magicians, like we don't necessarily care about like the work or unless of course we're fascinated with it like us, but like just the fact that how quickly people just want to accept the falsity of it. Like clearly you're not a dude from another galaxy that far, far away. You're not a bounty hunter, but people just love it. They see it, and it's just like, yeah, you're in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, let me share this point of view. So I costume as Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. I try to remain true to the character as best I can. When I go to Batu and Mando walks towards me or Boba Fett walks by, I spring up. I'm like, oh my god, it's Mando, it's Boba Fett. Oh my god, can I take a picture with you? And I know there's a guy in that suit. I know they're doing stuff. There's an actor. They're rehearsed. But I can't. I admire it from that perspective because
Yeah.
I was having lunch and I saw Boba Fett doing his rounds. He'd stop at a shop. He'd stop here for photos. You can see the handler kind of follow him, right? So he walked past my seat several times, and I just kept taking selfies with him. He blew me off each time. Well, that's cool. I was wearing Loki TVA stuff because I was going to the Avengers campus, and then I went to Batu, and Boba Fett saw me not wearing Boba Fett gear, didn't talk to me. So, but hey, in total Boba Fett fashion,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was appropriate.
So what's it like compare how do you compare the experiences of being on either side of the character, like experiencing with the characters or becoming the characters? What's those compare those experiences?
Uh, Try that again. Let me help me understand the question.
Oh, let's like what's the experience of being Den or seeing Den?
When I see Din Djarin, I try to encourage. Well, so this is something else you'll find if you're costuming the characters. When you see another character, like another Boba Fett, another Din Djarin, something like that, as the costumer, you're looking at the person, checking them out, and I will. And it's not uncommon. This happens. Other members of the clubs will come up and say, "Hey, let me just fix this for you, just real quick," and so we'll make an adjustment on his cape. Make it look
Mhm.
nicer, tidy something up, maybe rearrange something. And so that's the kind of thing that we'll do for other Din Djarins. Or if somebody needs a photo and someone's dressed up as Din Djarin, I will totally go grab your phone, take a picture of you because you wanna have the camera angle at a lower angle so it empowers him, right? So it gives him a low angle up, and so Din looks awesome. And then the family loves it, right? So if you versus being tall and shooting down, you kind of change the feeling of the character.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of thing that I do as a Din Djarin costumer to help other Din Djarins.
See, that's just putting a lot of thought into it.
Yeah,
That's love.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's definitely love. Can you pull up the Woodsboro picture, Dustin?
Yeah.
I don't know how far down those are. It's not too far, but I
Cheers.
this is what caught my eye. That you would you're scream clearly you're a Scream fan.
yeah.
Uh,
Closet Scream fan for a while. Back in the day, saw the original ones in high school, right when it was age appropriate for everybody. And then Scream 5 came out, and I'm like, huh, interesting. Let's go revisit this, right? So I went to go watch it, and I was just so blown away by the fandom point of view of that. I'm like, I love that. Let's go. And they did such a great job, like tying it back to the first one. But anyway, so that all happened, and this is that is Spring Hill Estates. That's up in Northern California, this Petaluma area,
Okay.
and they do tours. They have started doing tours since last year sometime. They block out a Saturday and Sunday on the weekends, certain times of the year. I think the next one might be in July.
Okay.
But you can book a reservation. You can go here for an hour. They walk you through the house, and this is the house that was filmed in Scream 1. So the house.
yes, the
Uh,
house.
Funny, I asked them. Screen 5 was a set, so it's not the actual physical house, but they replicated the house almost down to like the finest detail. I think the tour guide told me that the panels. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
look at
Yeah,
that.
if you the panels on the wall don't have the right something. But anyway, it's super minor stuff. But they
Yeah.
did a really good job. Anyway, so we're able to go to the Scream house, and we I reached out. So there's a ghost face in there.
Uh-huh.
He I don't his Instagram is there. I don't want to mess it up, but go check that guy out. He is the ghost mocker ghost, and he is the resident ghost face of the Spring Hill estate.
Nice.
Resident ghost face, regular. And I reached out to him like, hey dude, I've got a ghost face. I'd be interested in bringing it to the house for the tour for a couple of photos. Is that cool? I won't, and I when I go to costume events, I don't wear my costume at the door. I get into the event and then I put on my costume. So I carried Ghostface on my back, went into the house, did the tour, and then the last maybe 20-30 minutes, they allow you to do whatever you want. You can go around the house, take all the photos you want, do
Oh,
little
sweet.
skits. Yeah, totally worth the time at the end for sure. And so I asked the guy, hey, do you mind if I throw on my costume real quick? And he said, yeah, go ahead. So I threw it on, and man, I got to say, the moment I pulled the mask over my eyes and I saw the house through the mesh of my mask from '97, and I walked those halls, man, I mean, I get chicken skin just thinking about it. Like it was so crazy because you see the perspectives of the camera.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing, and the immersion of dressing as the character in the environment is something to live for.
No,
Uh,
that's full. You can't go. There's nowhere else to go. I mean, we were joking about it before. Like the only extra step you could take is to murder somebody in the house. There's nowhere else to go. So
so think about that. So I popped the costume on. I went and took some photos, and then I started stalking through the house. I wanted to go out to the living room area, and they had a mannequin up in the front that I wanted to take a picture with. So as I walked through, uh, Mocker Ghost popped up behind me. And when I got to take a picture, he tapped me on the shoulder and came out from the side, and I was just like, ah! So he got me, like he totally got me.
that's
So
good.
if it were a duel, I lost.
Well, I would love to have that on my resume. Resident ghost face.
Resident ghost face.
Like you get to wear that. So, so considering like how just in the short span of when you started to where you are now, like, have your expectations of your own work has that has that moved up? Do you want to do bigger projects and more intense labor, or is it, you know?
I have one 3D printer, and it's a workhorse, and I use it all the time, and it doesn't sleep. I did muse over having asked my wife. I'm like, hey, can I have three 3D printers, or can I have like a resin printer, a Cricut, and like a PLA printer, for more projects, right? Like more
Right.
variety. And she
Gateway.
she said I could have the multi machine. But yeah, larger projects. I have 3D printed. I'm working on a couple of Bo-Katans.
Uh-huh.
I'm 3D printing Bo-Katan suits for some of the ladies in my area, and uh, just helping them get their kits together. They're doing the soft parts and all that stuff. But
Those look fabulous, by the way.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I work at small scale. I mean, if I have I went to San Francisco State for cinema. I've been on a couple of sets. I've done some set decoration. I've done some large on-set projects, but nothing fantastic. But not for me. I like the small, fine detail,
Mhm.
like the little itty bitty things. That's kind
Yeah.
of where I'm at.
Yeah, I've seen one of the things that caught my eye in your Instagram was because there's a debate about what color Den's actual Under Armour clothes are.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead, please tell people your solution to that, because I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So there's a debate on how brown or gray the flight suit is.
Yeah.
And what happened was, a company came out. They released gray flight suits that had like this threading and everything. So I purchased that, but it was too gray, and it needed to be kind of toned down and weathered to make it look more lived in. So my solution to that was just to get a little bit of brown dye and just tint the fabric. Because what was happening was, even though the flight suit was gray, we were taking photos of it either in sunlight or something, and the exposure of the camera would change the flight suit from gray to brown. So my solution was to get brown dye and just dye that into the suit. So when the light changes, the color changes as well, but it's gray and brown at the same time.
It's so brilliant because I know there's moments when you're trying to make something. Any maker, they want to do this where they don't know exactly. There's no set record. You can't find any documentation of it, and you have to make
Right.
this judgment call about
Yeah.
like, okay, what do I do? You decided I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
That was the only solution. And that's the thing. If you want to be first, right? Not first. I wasn't first. Actually, I was the first Denjarin in my area, but not globally. But if you want to be first, you have to, yeah, you got to pave the way. You got to figure it out before
Right.
somebody, makes the right one. There's a flight suit maker for Boba Fett's, and she makes the flight suits and then dyes it the proper color, so you can get Boba's flight suit one stop shop. But the other, yeah, to get that from Din Djarin makers or even Bo-Katan makers, anybody who makes flight suits really, um, eventually they'll build it in, but it does take a year or whatever, right? Because as people figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a couple other people on my Instagram feed that are like very high quality, like fine detail, like you are paying attention. Like, okay, well, they had this and that, and they try to identify like here's the buttons they used and stuff like that. It's just outrageous. I love watching you and these other guys work. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we got a question. That's a couple questions actually, but let's go do this one at a time. Your work is awesome. Sounds like you're having amazing, fulfilling experiences too. Do you have a dream project? Is there something that you haven't maybe you even started, or something that you want to like build up to?
Oh, now one step at a time. Really, I've got too many things on the back on the boilers. You know what I mean? Like there's 3, 4 costumes like in pieces that because like with the fandoms, right? Like Ghostbusters came in, Spike.
Yeah.
Star Wars came in, Spike. Mando, Spike. Right? And so each costume takes a precedent over the other. Like Loki's coming up, Spike. Right? So
Mm.
that's kind of where I'm at. Um, so I'll work on one, and if it loses steam and I can't burst to the finish, it'll hit the back burner until the next Spike, and then it'll get completed. I need a reason sometimes
Yeah.
to kind of do that stuff.
Oh, you need like a push to just because yeah, I can't imagine like having because you want to do everything,
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially in
it's
that discovery of oh, I can do anything.
mhm.
That's cool. Well, what's this other question? You mentioning set decoration and stuff. What's a dream movie set you'd like to work on?
Oh man, hook me up, Lucasfilm.
Right.
Just put me on set. You know what? To be honest, it doesn't have to be. Specifically, I'd like to be on a Mandalorian specific, either Boba Fett, Mandalorian, or a spinoff that involves a Mandalorian, just so I can see I want to see the costumes in person, right? I
Mhm.
want to touch, feel, smell, like look
Right.
at it.
Steel.
And no, I'd like to be invited back to set. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hustle and bustle on the sets, and it is a really fun life if that's what you want to do. But for me, just to kind of get in there and just do it as a gig, that would be great. The
Mhm.
experience alone would be fulfilling. Being able to see my name and like one name and a credit would be rad. But
Yeah.
the Mandalorian stuff specifically, just because I live and breathe Mandalorian. I don't say I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm a Mandalorian fan, like Boba Fett,
Mhm.
and all the history associated with that, and that's what kept me into Star Wars. And then Mandalorian came out, and oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
definitely just blew your mind.
Yeah,
Like,
so good. I watched season 1 again before season 3 came out just to kind of revisit because they like to mirror, right? The
yeah.
poetry, it rhymes. So if you watch like the first 3 episodes and you look back at season 1, you kind of mirror like the actions, like parallel universe thing. You can kind of see some things line up and the way the writing goes.
Yeah.
Same beats in a
Yeah.
sense. So
Yeah. I noticed that as well. It's I don't know. It's amazing.
I would like to see you tackle Joe Johnston original boba design. Like I don't see anybody rocking that look enough.
there was I have the files. When 3D printing started, I started pulling files off the internet and saving it on hard drives. I'm like, I'm saving this for later. We can tweak and refine it later if you really wanted to. But one of that helmet was on there. Because when you're building custom Mandalorians, you've got range of helmet that you can choose from, right? Like there's a variety of helmets. There's a lot of makers out there that do custom designs, and then now on screen we've got, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 different designs on screen. And that particular helmet would be interesting to see live action. But yeah, it's a cool one. It's interesting with like the breather and stuff. It's kind of a deep cut for Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I have the files. Well, yeah, it's just you're scheming, you're planning.
Oh man, like it's a big file.
No, that's great. So like so when there's like a minor change too, Mandalorian's had it a couple times. Like he has like a piece that updates here, there. He's had several different looks over the course of those seasons.
Hmm.
When those minute changes come along, is it something that excites you, or are you more like, now I got to do this?
You know what? In the beginning, it was a pain, but now I'm totally okay with it because I know. So with the clubs, right? They have costume requirements lists. So
Yeah.
there, you may not know this, and for those who want to know, when the show comes out, of course, everybody's pouring over this. We want the information too. We want all the details. Give it to us faster. But there is basically a council of people who are looking at the costume, pulling their own references from the people that they know, getting all this information. And then once they've dialed in every aspect that is good enough for standard approval, like it fits the silhouette, it does everything that it needs to do for the costume, then they release the costume list. And now, once that costume list is live, now you can apply to match those costume lists, right? They do a comparison that you got to pass this test. Once you pass that test, you are approved in that costume, and then you can go to scheduled events with the
Mhm.
club. But yes, to answer your question, when Mando changes from season 1 to season 2, the flight suit changes, the cape changes, the knee, the thigh changes, a couple of other like minor things. There's like 4 or 5 things that change on the suit. Um, and I was ready for it. Like I'm when the Book of Boba Fett came out, I've already looked for that. As soon as this, as soon as the image hits the screen, all the 3D modders are just like trace, trace, trace. Here's the file, and in less than, and a lot of the time, less than 48 hours for sure, but within 24, you will find a file, and you can get it. It may not be perfect, right?
Same.
Because they're doing it off of fuzzy pixels.
Yeah.
Right.
But good enough, good enough. And then you refine it, print it again when it gets better and get a higher quality one.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the new ones came out, I already had all the pieces. I was waiting for the CRL to launch. As soon as it launched, I sent my photos to my garrison membership liaison, and we talked the costume, we shared information, and I started trooping it.
Nice.
So that's it.
Crazy. Yeah, it's like all the majority of Star Wars outfits. It's you can't, you're never done. It's never finished,
Right.
just because it's always going to go through these iterations.
Yeah. I actually joined Amando Mercs in my Ohio area, but I haven't been to meetings. I haven't reached out or done anything yet. So I'm hesitant because I know once I start down this dark path forever, it will dominate.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, there's a good question from where you are now. When you had joined, when you had started doing, like I'm going to get initiated with all these organizations, these clubs. What would you tell people like yourself when you were younger? Like, I think I might be interested in fabrication of some sort, props, costumes, whatever. What would be your advice to them? For the people like Dustin who were just like maybe just a tad hesitant about doing things.
Find model kits first. I mean, you can. A lot of it's painting. Oh well, no, that's not true. It depends. It depends. Okay, I really guess it really depends on what prop you want to do. You know what? Let's do Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters are very easy. We know, like if you want to, okay, going for props specifically, the Ghostbusters, they have franchises around the world. This is 4 or 5 guys who all have Ghostbuster gear, and they do fundraisers. They go to charity events, host parties, stuff like that, similar to what the Star Wars costume clubs do. Um, and you get approved using those pieces of equipment, but you can get a ghost trap from Spirit Halloween store, $25, and then it's a nice looking trap. I don't have it with me, but you can weather it and paint it, right? So it's like a cheap model.
Yeah.
You can practice techniques on it. You can make it look aged. You can drill into it, attach wires. Like you can really make it look lived in. And the spirit one doesn't come with the pedal that you press, right, to activate the trap. So
Yeah.
you can make that, and you can make that through maybe some free files. There's like 2 or 3 pieces. You just need like the base. You can cut it out of wood. That's what they did, back in the day. They cut a wood block out of it, and you buy the rest of the pieces, and they're mechanical. I'll have to look them up. They're like aluminum pieces, some knobs, some other things. You can find them in electronic stores, and then you can create the pedal, and then you get the cable and you wrap it into your little Spirit Halloween store that looks super cool. Then you put it on your hip, and you look awesome. Because Ghostbusters are a flight suit, boots, shoulder pads, some patches, but everything else is accessories, right?
Yeah.
So you put a trap with a pedal, you're just a Ghostbuster. You're the trapper. You're the new guy. You ain't got the proton pack. You ain't got the PKE meter. But again, the PKE meter, you can get that from Spirit Store, $25-$30. You push a button, the things come up and it beeps. I'm like, this is amazing. It's like kid's toy, and it attaches to your belt. It's got a clip. Weather that up, make it look good. Go to cons, dress as your Ghostbuster with your awesome trap. Scan kids, and they'll get a kick out of it, right? Because Egon scans that guy and then it pokes him. So I
Yeah.
scan, kids are like, "Oh, mom, it's a Ghostbuster." And I'll scan the kid. They get a kick out of it.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean,
that's
that's the
funny.
place to start. Like, get
Yeah.
a prop that's already made, weather it,
Yeah.
make it look like a prop.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have a couple things. I don't know where it's at, but I have the the rifle that Mando uses, mainly in the
Oh yeah,
first
pulse
season.
rifle.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
pulse
Nerf
rifle.
guns.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the
I've seen
Nerf
some
gun one.
great Nerf gun
it's like-
people. Yeah.
I'm hesitant, like, oh, I could totally make this, like, paint this up and make it weathered and stuff, and it's like, but do I want to? I don't know.
I don't know, man. Your painting skills, I wouldn't doubt it. You're good. I've seen your painting skills with your models and stuff with your,
Yeah.
customization work on your action figures. I'd go for it. I've seen people do that plasma rifle, the alien one, just turn that into it looks like a movie prop.
Mm-hmm. And
Those are
a lot
so
of it's
good.
dry brushing, just some weathering. Yeah, just to change its color.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. With the one things, well, not the one thing, but if there is something that I do not like painting, it's blasters, small, things. I'd rather do like a big, suits itself, because I feel like I can get so much done when I do like a suit of armor, because it's a lot simpler. Then when you get to like the blasters, you're spending, 3-4 days on a blaster, versus like one day and I've got a whole suit. So it's there's just the fine detail. It just takes more time, more patience.
Yeah. I'm totally lost. I don't even know where to begin on starting to make a suit, but I want to. I have a Boba Fett helmet that I got from our buddy Zombie here. He gave it to me for a birthday present, and it's like, oh, this is cool. I totally need the rest of the suit now.
That's the problem with the helmet on the shelf. You need the rest of the.
Yeah. Slippery slope.
It is.
I was jealous about the you had me. Have you had any? Sorry, I got it too excited in my head. I was thinking of all the pictures. The Rocketeer helmet, which is like one of my dream items. I think that's one of the most beautiful designs I've ever seen on any singular item ever. I just love it so much. Have you considered building a Rocketeer outfit?
100%. Yeah. So man, yeah, Rocketeers. I guess you could. Nah, it's not a dream project. I mean, because I will achieve that. Like, I will get that. And I've already told my wife I'm getting it. I mean, it's a helmet, it's a jetpack, it's Boba Fett. He's got a blaster, he's got the whole thing. But that helmet is not mine. That belongs to my buddy. His name is 14 Kill Stripes.
Yeah, I did see
he's a Boba Fett in my area, and he was my mentor. He taught me how to be Boba Fett, how to stand, how to pose, the demeanor, and the cape on my shoulder. Fun fact, is from him. I couldn't find like a good one. But he bought a bunch of fabric, made a bunch of capes, and he gifted one to me. So the cape that I wear is a 14 Kill Stripes,
Nice.
exclusive. But that's his Rocketeer, and I mean, he was Boba Fett, he was Rocketeer. I'm like, I'm in love. This guy, a man after my own heart.
Yeah.
I see his Rocketeer in person. And I'm just blown away by it. But yeah, definitely, that's a project I want to work on. I definitely want to build a Rocketeer. There's a lot going on with the jetpack. The leather is the vest and everything is looks so good. Expensive.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have some projects, but
it's not
yeah,
a cheap thing but to make it look good. But
but
anybody that
it's so
pulls it
good.
off,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to
I
do the
follow a couple
little.
of Rocketeers on Instagram, and I see them pop up once in a while. I'm like, oh, is it time? No, not yet.
It's gonna happen. When it happens, I will be there. I gotta see it, especially if you do the. I know a lot of people they like to do the resin fake gum with a little magnet. That way you
Oh
can
my
just
gosh!
pop
Oh
it on
yeah,
and
yeah,
off. I was
yeah.
like
You
things
gotta
like
have the
that.
gum on the
Gotta have
thing.
the
Yeah,
Beeman's gum.
yeah.
Well,
Oh, geez.
well, considering like now you're doing all these costumes and everything, and the creativity spout has got to be wide open. Is there projects that you want to work on that are completely 100% original, like your own?
Well, I have a custom. It's a Mandalorian. Are you talking about like outside of Star Wars, like my
Oh,
own thing?
just in general. Yeah.
Oh, I have all the pieces for a custom Mandalorian because I was just bored. I started printing a suit. And I'm like, oh, I want these shoulders, I want that helmet, I want these knees, I want these gauntlets. So I cherry picked all the pieces that I want because I have my modern Mandalorian that I upgrade on the regular.
Mhm.
Um, and I'd like to update it into the new armor set. So all the same colors and schemes and stuff, but just updated to be more modern. Well, with the series. But yeah, I don't know. I want to get into 3D designing. I want to learn how to create my own models because I think that would be valuable, and then I could like manipulate things, just find a base
Yeah.
form, and then kind of do some stuff. But yeah, I'm not super creative when it comes to that stuff. I just don't have the patience for it, or I just not enough time
Yeah.
to hop into another hobby because in itself is a hobby.
Yeah.
So it's just time,
I
Yeah.
just
but
love that
nothing
you
that I
said
can
you
think
started it because you got bored. I
of.
got bored, so I decided to build my own Mandalorian armor.
Well, so here's something that I've learned through costuming is like so during the cold season, winter time, right? You can't paint because you need to be in like 70 degrees, right? Otherwise, your paint doesn't cure proper. So in the colder seasons, I 3D print, and so by the time the kit is finished, now it's spring, and so now it's starting to warm up. So now you can start prepping, and so spring, summer, now you're painting and you're moving all that stuff, and then by the time you get to the fall again, if you're not finished yet, now you're doing the fine detail, and you don't need like big things coats of paint anymore. Now you're
Right.
fine detailing, and hopefully you round it out in a year. So that's my work process. Like
Wow.
if when you catch me, like, oh, you want me to do this? Okay, well I can print it now, but you're not gonna get it till it warms up.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow.
just kind of my workflow.
Yeah. That's a good workflow.
No, that's smart to
Yeah.
think that far ahead because I know we've talked to Zach about how he's 3D printed some stuff he can't paint because lives in Colorado. It's tough to find spots to paint that. So
Yep, there's
Yeah.
a lot of rainy coastal areas where the weather is just too much moisture in the air, so you can't put down your coats of paint; it won't work.
Yeah.
But you got to sand it. Too
yeah.
much.
So
Yeah,
I
I've seen
noticed.
you talk about extensively about the difficulty with sanding. It's just like, gotta sand again.
No, that's it's just a meme at this point. Like we all know, we all know.
Well,
Oh
I
goodness.
noticed that you. I think the best part about this, as just keeping the magic of something alive is that
Yeah.
you've got kids, and I see them goofing off with you, and you talk about how you've made props for them and stuff. What is that like? Being able to share that passion in the capacity that you do with your children.
Yeah. Well, let me. I chatted this to my wife about this the other night, and so just I dressed as Mando, and I went to an event. My son was there, my wife was there, helping me get kitted up and stuff. My daughter has seen me do these things. She's a little bit older. She's 6, so she understands fact and fiction, right? I've separated the two. I'm like, hey, this is a costume. This is not real. These are actors, Hollywood cameras, et cetera, right? So I tried to like ruin her imagination so that she doesn't think I'm on screen murdering people.
Yeah.
But my son had never seen Mando like on screen, hadn't seen Grogu in on screen, but knew who he was. And then saw me wearing them. I had my Grogu and stuff like that for a parade, and it was making noise and all this stuff. And so it was real to him. And then we watched, like I said, we watched season 1 to get ready for season 3, and we watched a couple of episodes. I'm just watching Mando just like blast everybody, and I'm like, oh, how's because he sees dad on screen, right? Like that's I feel that could be dangerous. So I try to show him, like this is me, it's different, and all the different costumes, right? Like
Yeah.
my daughter gets it, but like there's like the Tusken Raider and the Tusken grunts, and so he pushed a button on my glove and it grunted at him, and he like fled. I'm like, oh. And then
Oh, man.
then I had to take my helmet off, and then then he warmed up, and I had to give him a hug and stuff like that. So like he's at a young age where that's terrifying. I'm like, get used to it, kid. This is your life now. But you definitely have to approach it like this is pretend. We're playing. We're dressing up. We're playing pretend. We're not walking in the room blasting people, right? Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
not nice. Don't do that. But then he watches like lightsaber fights, and so he'll pick up. We got lightsabers around the house. So what does he do? He goes grab them and just swing it at me. And so instead of telling him like, "Hey, don't swing that at me," I've told him you can't attack someone who can't defend themselves. So now he brings me something to defend myself with.
That's good.
And I've received like a race car, a spoon, a back scratcher. Like, yeah, one time he came up to me. He had a crayon and a Kylo Ren lightsaber. He handed me the lightsaber, and I clicked it on. And then he looked at the crayon. He switched them. He swung at me. I'm like, okay, but it's make it fun for
Yeah.
them, but also root them in real life and reality. Like, hey, this is pretend. This is
Yeah.
play. Because when they see that stuff on screen, that changes things because that's real to them at their age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a good job because his dramatic death video, that kid's got talent. He needs to pursue
Yeah,
acting.
you got to get into Hollywood.
Yeah.
I know my kids are ruined. So one daughter wants to marry Grogu and believes it'll happen, and her Nana always is like, "You can't marry a creature. Okay, you can't." It's just like I don't even know where to begin with this.
Yeah,
Like,
there is a.
and the other one wants to marry Darth Vader. It's just like, but did you not see the movies? Like, I mean,
I'm like, just casually explain that he's already spoken for.
right.
That's the easiest way to do it.
That's what we've had. That's what I've tried to do repeatedly, but they still always are like, "Oh, well, I'm going to marry Grogu, or I'm going to marry Darth Vader," and it's just like,
Or just be like, you like to go to the beach, don't you? And she's like, yeah. And you're like, well, if you marry Darth Vader, you can't go around any sandy places anymore. He doesn't like it.
yeah,
With my daughter, she's 6, around 5. She started understanding plots and storylines to movies. Like she'll sit down and watch an hour and a half movie now, right? She won't sit in a dark theater, but she'll watch it at home, like on a television or whatever. And so now she's learning that there are multiple Star Wars. The universe is getting much larger because she just stuck to like Mando season 2, episode 1 with the Krayt dragon over and over and over again. Loves it. Just giant monster, very
that was
simple plot,
brutal.
right? Yeah, simple plot. There's a giant monster. We're attacking it. This is exciting and fun, and this is cool. They win. Oh, exciting! It's great for the kids. But she's learning more about Star Wars, and then she found out that Darth Vader was Luke's dad. Spoiler alert. And so she found out about that, and so she was shocked. And then I told her, "Oh yeah, she want to learn more about Darth Vader." I'm like, "Oh, we can learn about Darth Vader as a kid." So we watched episode 1, and we watched the pod race, and I thought that was like fun and exciting, right? Because it's like high intensity, and so she knows that Anakin is Vader. But the whole time she's watching it, she's like, "Is Anakin gonna be okay? Is Darth Vader gonna win? I want Darth Vader to win." And I'm just like, "But he gets older, so okay." But it's fun and exciting, and it's nice for her to be able to sit down and enjoy the entire length of thing and try to piece the story together. And so she's still kind of figuring that stuff out. So yeah. It is what it is.
I guess be prepared for episode 3 with the younglings. There's a talk.
we haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, there's a talk.
Yeah,
I
for
wouldn't
the
even know how to
Youngling
broach
9000.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, they cut
I
away.
think my kid just closed her eyes and was just like, it's okay. He's okay. They're just actors. It's like, yeah, exactly. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
He turned around and he defended all of those children and then helped them on the ships, and they all escaped.
Right.
And then proceeded to murder everybody else.
Oh,
I do
what are
like
we
that they're
going to
bringing a
do?
lot of the Order 66 stuff back in a lot of flashbacks, like in
Yes.
Obi-Wan, right? Like they
Yeah.
brought that back and then tied that into the video game with the Fortress Inquisitus. And then again, they did one in the Mando season 3. They had that flashback to give Grogu his backstory,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're in the armorer's den, that pounding just sends you on these
Yeah.
memory
Yeah.
things.
I guess it's like working on a project. You just kind of zone out and you
Yeah.
start thinking about things. So
I
considering
actually really like that storytelling aspect of it. I like that.
the flashbacks.
Yeah, I really enjoy those fast flashbacks.
Well, I want to flashback to Chuck here. When was the point that what was Star Wars to you when you were a kid? What was your introduction to it? And what was the thing where you're like, okay, I'm going to love this for the rest of my life type of thing?
100%. 4, 5, and 6, Boba Fett. No questions asked. Who's that guy? Who's the one that Darth Vader's like, don't know disintegrations, like, don't
Right.
screw it up. Like who, and then he's like, okay, as you wish. Like, who's this guy? Who's Darth Vader saying, like, he's on his radar? And then he gets his guy. But the Sarlacc. Poor thing. Too soon.
Well, I know for a fact that he lived.
We all knew. We read the novels, right? Like, and that
Right.
was like that was it. 4, 5, 6, Boba Fett. Who is that guy? Read everything. Looked all of the Legends books, all the Tales of the Bounty Hunter,
Yep.
Jabba's Palace.
Mhm.
Skip everybody else. Just read Boba Fett. Right? It never even occurred to me that who the person was in the mask, who the actor was. When I was a kid, I saw Boba Fett. That was just Boba Fett. He was just this badass, cool bounty hunter that everybody was afraid of, right?
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me to go look up the actor and see who the face was in the helmet. Never occurred to me until well into my late 20s.
So what was that experience going into that? Like looking up, I'm going to lose nerd credit. Who played
Jeremy Bullock?
Thank
Jeremy
you.
Bullock, yeah.
Like finding out, like, oh, there's people. Somebody's doing a voice, somebody's doing this, and then of course the little alterations.
Oh yeah, the magic of filmmaking.
Yeah,
yeah. No, that changed a lot of things. But I knew that I wanted to part the curtain, right? I wanted to go backstage. I wanted to see how the magic was made, right? So I went to school for that.
Yeah.
To go learn. I should have went to theater or something else, like to get into like set design and stuff like that. But I did like script writing and some fiction filmmaking and stuff. So I'm familiar with. But yeah, the magic. I still enjoy it, but yeah, I'll watch something and I'll see like a cut or the way something is done, and I'm like, okay, I like it. That's cool. Still immersed.
Yeah. Occasionally, you see a boom in the. Like, nope.
Yeah, they had the green shirt guy in season 1, season 2, whenever that was. That had the off-duty stormtrooper, and then they edited him out of Disney Plus. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun time. I mean, it happens, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still a fan of the stormtrooper that bumps his head on the way in.
Dude,
in episode 3 or 4. Yeah. That's just, I can't unsee it.
So I'll share this with you. It's been made public anyway. So the 501st Legion had a bunch of stormtroopers that from a lot of the California garrisons were invited to go to the Mandalorian set, and they were the extras in season 1 and in Obi-Wan, like when the big troop transports show up. And we were just talking about that, like, oh, how cool it would be to have a stormtrooper set of armor to be on set, the suit that you built, you know what I mean? And now you're on set, you're doing this stuff, you're stepping over bodies because you're blasting people on screen, like, what's that like? And then I thought about it. I'm like, I better tighten up all the snaps, because like if you're on screen and like your butt falls off, like you'd be the butt stormtrooper, just like the guy who bonks his head, like going into the thing, like you'd forever be known as that.
Right.
So it's stuff like that. It's just like, hey, when you're building your costume, tighten it up, make sure it looks good. You
Yeah.
are a mirror image, and you represent, the characters that you see on screen.
Yeah.
Best you can.
Full immersion. Oh well, outside of I'm just curious about like what's your favorite just movies in general, just like the top tier shelf. These movies will be with me forever type of.
You know what? I'll share this with you because it'd be a fun topic to kind of get into. I dearly love Willow, and then the Disney Plus series came out, and oh,
I'm sorry, I haven't watched it.
that's okay. No, just
I can build up the mental
stay
barrier.
pure.
Yeah,
Stay pure.
That's why.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm not working on the set. I'm not writing those things. I'm the fan, right? And everybody wants their fandoms to be, as you read your book and all this stuff, and you have all this legacy, and then you get something new and fresh, and you're just like, oh. But yeah, but Willow. I mean, I will watch Willow over and over and over again. I quote it. I can, hear the music in my head.
It's
it's
fantastic
amazing.
score.
Yeah,
That's like one of my favorite scores.
Oh yeah. Back to the Future is another like really fun series that I enjoy. I've got a flux capacitor tattooed on my wrist. I mean, it's styled, to be like a circuit board, a little more modern. But I've got a flux capacitor.
Can we see it again?
Oh,
sorry.
There you go.
Look
So
at that.
it's just styled to be like a circuit board. But Back to the Future is it's like a near perfect movie. Like I love the way they did with the time travel. Any kind of time travel in loops is fun. Just be like Back to the Future 2, right? The way they mirrored everything, the way everything just poetry in motion.
Yeah.
Super good. Harry Potter, when they had the Time Turner episode or film. Sorry, television and now movies because episodes are so long now. But the Time Turner, like all that, like that duality stuff, like I love that. Stuff like that is just fun mind games in film and cinema.
I just love. Has that something that's crossed your mind to build a Mad Mardigan outfit? That
you know what? I reached out to a guy on Instagram, and he's got the casts for General Kale. He's got the helmet. He does like
Dustin,
a full.
You know how much I love General Kale.
Oh my god,
that's another dream helmet I would love to own. General Kale's helmet.
Yeah, not. I mean, that's on my list. I create spreadsheets, and then I go look for all of the items that create the costume, and I put all the links on a spreadsheet, and then that means I'm one step away from going click buy. But yeah, General Kale has a lot going on. It's a very simple costume, super simple. I think it's just I think it's leather on the front, and then he's got an embossed, plate on top, and then he's got the helmet, which is the crowning achievement to the whole thing. Otherwise, he's got simple armor, very simple armor, because he's on horseback. Like you can't be fully armored and be an actor and be on horseback and be fighting and all that stuff. Like you need mobility, right? So he's not heavily armored. But finding the right pieces and getting them in quality, like I couldn't find 3D files that I liked. And then I found a guy who did all the research, and then he built it all and then cast them all. I reached out a long time ago, maybe last year sometimes, but it's a hobby for him, right? That's not his job.
Right.
He built that because he loved the character and he wanted to build it true to his vision and to what he saw on screen. And he wore it, went to cons. The pictures are amazing. Goblin props. I think that's him on Instagram. Go look at those photos. He's got a Mad Mardigan as well. Such a cool costume. Yeah, General Kale, Rocketeer, Predator. That's a full suit though. Like I can't make any of that. I need somebody to fabricate the entire thing for me, and then I just wear it.
Right.
That's a creature suit. I really enjoy monsters in all of the films, like the villains and stuff like that. The creature in a mask, right?
Yeah.
Like my face, nobody cares, but you put on that helmet or you put on that mask, you become that character, and you're no longer who you are. Everybody sees the character and all the memories that they have of that character.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one. You should do the Kale because your magnificent beard goes right with it.
I've been growing it out for that. I even trimmed
Oh, that's why,
dude.
That's great.
Like you caught me. You caught me. My wife doesn't even know that. I looked at his beard, and he trims his mustache. I'm like, how do I grow a beard? How do I get this out? Because this is annoying. because when it's now we're getting into other things, but like, how do I groom myself? And then I looked at his picture, and he trims the top and keeps everything else long. I'm like, all right,
I just
General
love that he
Kale,
rocks. Yeah, he rocks
let's
that beard. And
go.
it
Yeah,
looks so good.
this is the General Kale.
Well, we have an exclusive.
Yeah, yeah. She ain't gonna watch the podcast. Is
Heard it here first.
General Kale's coming. That's a bucket list. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that's so. Let's talk about that. Subscribing to you on Instagram, they can follow you at C Marshall, which is on the screen
Yeah.
now.
SEA_Marshall. I post some dad life stuff once in a while. Once I'll go to like, I don't know, a con or on a vacation thing, and I'll take a picture once in a while. A lot of costume stuff. Sometimes I'll do some build stuff. I really don't know where to go with it. It's just I keep it costume related. A little bit of dad life in there once in a while because they
Yeah.
join me on my costume adventures, and so they're part of it.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
you should leave that stuff in. It's nice because you become you're a real person.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can relate to. Suddenly we have
Yeah.
the story and we're following you. It's nice.
I don't Photoshop any of my pictures. Sorry, I'm too lazy.
Right.
I ain't got time for that. I don't do a whole bunch of reels. I ain't got time for that. I got kids.
Yeah.
Show up, man.
Yeah.
Well, have you got anything that you were gonna? Have you got anything planned to like show up at any events coming up that people might come find you at?
You know what? Tomorrow, if you guys are San Francisco Giants fans, Star Wars night is tomorrow for the Giants. So if you're at the game, I will be wearing my blue Death Watch. There's going to be, I think, 2 or 3 other Death Watch. There might be 4 total. I don't know. We'll see. But we're in a Death Watch group, and we're like, hey, let's go sign up for this event. The Giants. Let's go. All the clans going to come together.
Nice.
So we got a couple of Death Watch are going to be showing up for the Giants. So if you're watching the game, if you see a little flash of blue, maybe that was me. Maybe that was one of the other guys.
Nice.
And then you know what? Something I don't do is photography. I don't do photo shoots. I feel really weird when people are taking pictures of me if I'm not like, I'm supposed to be there. Like if I'm posing, it's weird. It's so weird. Like I don't like the way I look.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that the character is represented in such a way that it looks like what you would see on screen. I don't want to get you from like a weird angle. And then I'm like, that's not very flattering. You know what I mean? So I don't like photography if I'm not like doing my own thing that I need to do. But on Sunday, I'm heading up north, and I'm gonna meet a bunch of Lokis, like a Captain America Loki, an Avengers Loki, all these different Lokis. I don't even a Kid Loki, Wildling Loki. All these different Lokis are gonna be converging in one spot in Northern California somewhere. They gave me an address, and I told them I'd bring my Time Variance Authority Hunter, and so I'm gonna be the only time. There were 2 other Time Variance Authority guys in my area that we worked on costumes together. We've gone to cons together as a squad, but they're not going to be making it for this. So it's just me going up there. So I joked to the group. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll see you guys at the Void, because it's just a bunch of Lokis and me. I'm like, oh. But what I'm going to do for that is I have to do it. I just got the files. I'm going to in Loki's season 1 at the end of the thing. There are these the timekeeper guards. They've got the batons, right? They can send you to the Void, or they've got like spikes on the bottom. So I want to print a spike and add it to my my timekeeper baton. So not accurate to screen, but the spike will make for better photos, I think, because now I can threaten Lokis. Because like, yeah, the baton will send you to the Void, but if you're already in the Void, well, the spike will kill you. So I think the spiky end is probably worse than the baton end. So I'm going to try and slam that out. And then on Sunday, I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of Lokis. I don't know how many photos I'll be in. I'm just down to hang out. Like,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't like being in those things. If they have a Tesseract, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take a photo of me confiscating it. Like, the Eye of Agamotto, like all the things. Give me Captain Shield. So you're going to see me wearing like all these accessories that I confiscate. And it's going to be rad. It's going to be super fun. But that's like a fun thing that I've never done before. Going out and meeting a bunch of people. And then I met them at a con my first year doing the TVA Hunter with my other 2 friends, because Loki came out, right? Like I told you about those spikes of interest. Loki came out, and one of my buddies was like, anybody can put on a crown of horns and be Loki. I'm like, well, then let's go be TVA hunters. Let's go find them. And so we printed out suits, and then we went to the con, and we we just sought out Lokis. That's all we did all day, which is hunt Lokis, and it was so much fun. Like we didn't look at vendors, we just looked for Lokis, and Lokis sought us, and we just took photos, and it was a blast. And it's just so much fun.
They want to know where they can hang out with all the Lokis.
uh,
you got a Loki fan in here. I actually, yeah.
I didn't do the invites. I just got sucked into that. So,
well, sorry.
That sounds awesome.
You'll just have to go through the hills and try to find all these Lokis. Shouldn't be too hard to find. I would imagine.
Big cloud in the sky where the remember the guy's name, Azaloth or something.
Well, man, I can't thank you for enough to. I'm glad. I'm legitimately, Dustin. Thank you for pointing me in this guy's direction. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Great game. I love I think what gets me about you is you put so much thought into it because you care about the properties and you love them, and you're just it's basically you're returning the favor in the projects that you make.
Right.
And I think that's really nice.
It's nice. You get some extra mileage out of the effort, right? Like you put a bunch of time and money into that, and it's different from a Halloween costume. A Halloween costume I might throw together. I might wear once a year. Maybe.
Yeah.
Or just that one event, right? Like just a work event or something. But to be able to get the mileage out of the Ghostbuster, out of all of the Star Wars costumes, like and give back to the community in some way is such a cherry on top. It's just nice to have. And you get the extra mileage. You get to wear it out any weekend that I want. If there's an event, you ain't got nothing to do. Let's go make some kids smile.
Yeah.
Wow. It's very commendable. You were a true Thunder nerd.
Oh yeah, dude. Now we'll chat all night. We should end it sometime.
Yeah.
We'll chat all night.
Please, you got to come back on sometime, especially after you build this Kale outfit. I kind of want to see that on camera.
Cool. Yeah.
We haven't even got to talk about 40K and whatnot.
Oh no, save it for another time, man. Yeah, right. Warhammer. That was my first money pit. Oh my god! But that introduced me into painting and the sets and the miniatures and stuff, and that's what got me into all this other stuff. Like to really you want to learn how to paint, go grab a rock. Get a rock and then paint the rock to look like a rock.
Yeah.
Because if you get a rock and you glue it on with a model, that rock doesn't look like that model anymore. So you got to paint that rock.
Right.
Paint the rock.
Plus, we got to do another show to get Zach in here because I know he's a little bummed that he missed this because he's getting into custom fabrication, Warhammer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We got to have you back on.
Yeah, keep me in touch. I've got, like I said, I got a move coming up. I'm going to be moving out of state in July, so check me out in the fall after I settle and I'm over there. So we'll see, because Warhammer is going to take front and center, I think, because here in California, it's like a cosplay mecca. Like there's cons everywhere. There's all this stuff going on. I'm moving out to Rio Rancho, New Mexico. They've got their share of cons, but what it does is it opens up my ability to, I can fly to different places now. I can travel and take a costume to different cons that I would never go to, because in California, you're just like, I'll just wait for these cons to show up.
Right.
But in a place where there's kind of a drought and doesn't have any large cons, now I can shop and see where I want to go. I really want to go to Dragon Con. That's someplace I want to go, and take the TVA Hunter, because Dragon Con's Marriott is the set of the TVA.
I did not know
Talking about immersion, right? Did
not know that.
2021 or something when Dragon Con happened, and the coronavirus was on the Delta, the Delta strain. The Delta variant, that's what they call it. And so at Dragon Con, there were a bunch of Lokis dressed as flight attendants, and they were, the Delta variant.
That's pretty good.
Just so much fun, dude. And they were at the TVA. And then there was a group of TVA hunters out there, and I was just like, dude, I need to get together with these people. I don't know who they are, but with social media, you see people and you reach out and you say, hey, are you going to go to this thing? And let's hang out. Let's go to this con together. Let's go hang out. So the community is a lot of fun, and even if you're just going to the cons and doing what you guys are doing and just having fun with it, it's a really good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck with the move and everything. We'll keep an eye on you. Everybody should definitely follow you. At your link.
I appreciate it if you do. That's cool. I mean, hey, the more the merrier. That's cool if you want to follow along.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated to see what you'll do next. It really is.
I want to know what I'm going to do next. I don't.
Yeah, there you
Too
go.
many
What
things.
what you need to do is you need to come to Ohio and hang out.
Yeah.
There's a couple cons and stuff going on that I'd like to see at. But
Keep
yeah,
in touch. Who
for
knows,
sure.
man? We'll travel. Have fun.
All right. Well, you have a excellent night, sir. We'll let you go back to fabricating.
Yeah, I got to fire up my printer. I got some pieces in the mail. I got to go get some stuff to get my spike.
Oh yeah.
Never stops.
Yeah. Oh
Never
yeah.
stops.
Good luck
Right.
with that as well. Can't wait to see the pictures.
Cool. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Later. Oh man, super cool. I'm glad you
He's
brought
awesome.
him on. He's cool. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's really cool. I like it.
Oh, and thanks
Oh,
to
man.
all of our viewers.
Yeah.
We have some questions keeping us on our toes.
For
Was
sure.
there anything else we need to do? Or we want to just wrap it up? Or did you want to talk about anything?
I don't know. I'm getting bombarded with messages all of a sudden.
Is
So,
it? Yeah, man. I'm so glad. That was really cool. I like it when, yeah, because I love it when you. It's different to get somebody that you do know when we get them on the show, but not having not having any context on, because you was just kind of thrown at me this week, and just to be able to talk to him and just very nice dude. I like him.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
stuff.
I love it.
I love it when we get to talk to people.
Yeah.
So
speaking of, if
Yeah.
you are a nerd and want to be on our show, then definitely email us and let us know.
Yeah, or just follow, find us on the socials at Master. Yeah, you got it on the screen. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Or find one of us.
Yep.
We'll hook it up. Oh, if you want to join us it's tomorrow, right? The discussion, the film discussion.
Tough Turf.
Yes.
Tough Turf is tomorrow, and then Saturday is Rendered Useless.
So we got that coming up. If you want to join us in conversation about the 80s film Tough Turf, TUFF, it's on YouTube. Nobody's going to arrest you. No,
Right.
Apparently nobody really cares. We're going to talk about this classic film, part of my childhood. I can't wait to talk about it. But that'll be tomorrow at 8 or 9.
Yeah, 8.
Okay. We got that.
And Saturday's at 2.
Saturday we'll be discussing the renders versus in-hand product and how companies do their promotional shots and stuff. That'll be neat. We'll have the gang on for that. Do we get a new comment? What film again? Oh, Tough Turf. It's TUFF. TURF. It has stars James Spader, Robert Downey Jr.
Yep.
I can't remember her name. Paris Hilton's aunt or whatever. She's in it.
It's a Kim something, I forget.
Yes, Kim. She was a Disney kid. Her name's leaving my brain.
Right.
But we'll talk about that. She used to be a Disney kid. But I
have yet to watch it, so I'm gonna watch it tonight and have it be fresh on my mind to go into because I've never seen this movie before ever.
I'm excited for you. I really am. You've never seen it? Yeah. And technically, when Avengers came out, or Avengers 2 was coming out, and I found out that James Spader was going to be in that, I was like, oh, Tough Turf reunion. That's going to be great because they're buddies in that movie.
Yeah.
But yes, it's very cool. If you want like a bonus thing, I watched Rebel Without a Cause, which I heard was a big inspiration on Tough Turf. And after watching it, you can clearly see that. So if you want to watch that just as a bonus, it's on HBO Max. But not required. We're just going to be mainly talking about Tough Turf.
Yeah. And whatever else comes up with. Our buddy Kurt is a scatterbrain and talks about anything and everything. So it's unpredictable.
Yes, you do. You need to watch movies and then join us tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be talking movies with Kurt.
Yep.
I'm excited.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, Dustin, anything else?
We need to play our thing and we'll wrap it up.
Oh yeah. We're gonna leave you with an ad. We'll play us out, and then we'll play an ad at the end. And considering that Chuck has been doing a little manscaping himself,
Yeah.
have you? It's you know what? Don't kill me. I've never watched the Harry Potter films.
I haven't either.
I haven't.
I didn't get on that train. I probably should have, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. But that was fun. This was good. I like this episode. But
Yeah.
we're gonna let everybody go. Everybody have an awesome night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you to our sponsor, Manscaped. Join us as we take a look at the Performance Package 4.0. First up is the Lawnmower 4.0. Mowing your lawn has never been so much fun. You'll even be volunteering to mow other people's lawns, if you know what I mean. You won't need sight beyond sight to see what you're doing down there. Next up is the Weed Whacker 2.0. Also, with its skin-safe technology, you'll never have a pesky ear or nose hair out of place. Why not try out the Crop Reviver? It will leave your orbs of power silky smooth. Last up, we have the Crop Preserver. It's the best way to combat that itchy burning sensation you get when chafing. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code ThunderNerds at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code ThunderNerds. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job at Manscaped.